We are here for episode 10 of Everywhere We Belong with Farheen Rasheed. Farheen's life is very different from any of the guests we previously had on. So, Farheen was born in Bombay and lived there for 5 years, after which she moved to Kannur, Kerala. Her family lived there for 4 years before her parents moved her to Bangalore for school. She studied there at Ryan International, Bethany High, and then Christ College, where she also later worked as a cultural coordinator, the same college I attended. In December 2015, she got married and moved to England a year later to live with her husband. She's now been in the UK 9 years, having had a daughter and built her family there. So, Farheen, welcome to the podcast. We're glad to
Thank
have
you.
you. Uh, of course, I'm glad Raghu connected us. So, what were the main differences in schooling between Kannur and Bangalore? I'm personally curious because I grew up in Bangalore as well.
So in Kannur, there were a lot of sisters on campus. They were very strict. So it was an English medium school, but everyone spoke in Malayalam.
Right.
And because I came from from Bombay, my Malayalam was very bad. So I was like this outcast for some reason, and people used to make fun of me. So I was the English monitor. So if someone didn't speak in English, I had to report them the null, and they would get punished for speaking Malayalam.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, I think for the 4 years I was there was not accepted as much, even though I was a Malayali, but because my Malayalam was really, really bad.
Right.
But by the fourth year, my English became really, really bad. And I think that was when my mom was like, okay, this is not happening. I felt schooling was a lot more strict in Kannur,
Okay.
but also culturally, I got a lot of schooling.
Mm.
So I was in the dance team. I went for district level competitions, and um, there was an actress. Her name is Sanusha. She was my junior. So she
Right.
was a child actress at the time. She was also in our dance team. So I was doing a lot culturally. Like there were a lot
Okay.
of dance things happening. Cut to when I moved to Bangalore, I was in Ryan for 3 years.
Mm.
Not the best years of my life, because there was nothing happening culturally for me. And I was again feeling like a fish out of water.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's when my mom decided to ship me to Bethany, and that was the best experience of my life. I
Right.
was in the dance team, I was in the football team, I was doing everything culturally except for being in the classroom. So
Amazing.
yeah, so it was already
What
fun.
age was this when you moved to Bethany?
I was in eighth standard.
Right. So that's about 13, 14.
Yeah, probably.
Right. Okay.
Bethany helped me with my confidence a lot. I
Right.
think because I shifted so much, I never felt that childhood friendship kind of feel from
Right.
anywhere. Like, the you grew up with someone kind of friendship. I don't have that.
Mm,
And
I
even in
see.
Bethany, there were a lot of people like that. From they were together since year one, like first
Mm,
standard. They were together. So when I came in eighth standard, I was still out of water, but they were a lot more welcoming.
that's good to hear because high school can be intimidating, right? Meeting a bunch of new people, especially in ninth and 10th grade. I feel like my classmates were the worst at that age. I feel like we were all the worst at 13, 14, you know? And then
Yeah,
people slowly mature around 17, 18, start becoming nicer, but high school was crazy.
I think I met a mix of people, but
Right.
by far my best experience was in Bethany. So yeah.
Right. You specifically told your parents that you didn't want to move school after 10th grade, right?
My parents had zero confidence in regards to my academics, so they were
Really?
really like, "Do you really want to do such a difficult board? Like, why not do PUC?" Or and I was just like, "No, I'm not shifting schools anymore," because I really, like I said, I really had the best time of my life there. They were
Mm,
very encouraging. They never had like that. Like in other schools, I always felt like they wanted academics to be first, and
right.
anything you did extracurricular was not that important. But in Bethany, if you were good at something, they helped you pursue that.
Right.
So I still remember my school principal, he got involved because I went and told him that I really want to continue here. And then he spoke to my mom.
And what was the difference between Bethany and Christ College, if I might ask?
Christ is stricter.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in Bethany, we were constantly told by the teachers, like, once you reach college, they're not going to care about you the way we care about you. You
Yeah.
know, I think the great thing about Bethany is the teachers I had, they're still there. So they've been, even when I was there, they've been there for years. They were like, we had like that family feel. Like the teachers were very involved in your life. Like, it wasn't like, they just taught you and that. They
Mm,
took special interest in you, and if you were lagging behind, they would speak to you, try to understand what's going on. Christ
right.
was not like that. They
Yeah.
cared if you had attendance. They
Yeah.
cared if you. I don't know the rules now, but back then you were not allowed to wear leggings.
Yeah.
Um,
It was the same even when I was there.
so you had to wear churidars. And I was a tomboy. I didn't own like ethnic wear. So my entire wardrobe had to be changed when I joined Christ.
They insist on the dress code, but I suppose it changed from course to course. So now that your children are studying in England, how do you feel the education systems compare to those in India?
So in India, it's the schooling system is very different. So you have boards, right? You have your stateless syllabus, you have ICSE, you have CBSE. Now even you have ICSE, you have IB. I think there's so many now.
Mm,
Um, so then you pick a school based on the board you want your child to study in, and the distance doesn't matter, right? Like you might send them to wherever, and you might drop you on a bus.
yeah.
Over here, you can't pick your school.
Mhm.
It's picked for you based on your distance from your house to the school.
Mm,
So I'm really struggling with that because I then realized a lot of people move houses to get the school of their choice.
right.
So you make an application to the council, not even to
Mhm.
the school, and then you put, I think, top five. And then if you don't get into your top one, you can move to the second and the third. And then you will get a school, but you don't have a say exactly for it.
So there's no way to circumvent this in terms of like any way to get your child into a school that's favored or that's has a good reputation.
Move closer to the school.
Wow, that's interesting. That's
I
so
mean, the
different.
only other thing, I mean, before the distance, there are other criteria, like if they are looked after by the council, the ones who have mental disabilities or physical challenges, they have priority. Those whose parents are teachers in that school, they have priority. After all of that comes the distance from the school.
Right. Yeah, England systems are very different from here. It's very systematized and
Yeah,
ordered.
yeah,
You have to just wait your turn sort of thing with
yeah.
most things, I've realized. I wanted to touch upon the matriarchy element of your upbringing. I remember you mentioned that your native society in Kerala is matriarchal. That's something that I have never personally seen. It fascinates me. So my question is, how prevalent is the matriarchy in your native society outside of the marriage dynamics that you mentioned?
May I ask where you're from?
Sure. I was born in Chennai. I was there for 4 years. And since then, I've lived in Bangalore. A lot of travel in between, and my family is very scattered. So it's been a lot of here and there, but only for short periods of time, for maximum maybe 4 months outside the country. But there have been many bursts. Yeah,
So you're basically Tamil.
pretty much. My dad's a mix, but mom is fully Tamilian, and dad also has Tamilian blood. So I think mostly Tamilian, yes.
I think when I tell people what matriarchal society is like for us and like the things we follow, I find generally people in the north find it more difficult to digest. How is that even possible, kind of thing? So first, I got married to a patriarchal system.
Okay.
Uh, Even though my husband's from Kerala as well and he's from Malabar region, they follow patriarchal system, but we follow matriarchal system. So the thing
Okay.
is, in under the matriarchal system, after marriage, the guy comes and lives at the girl's house.
Right.
We don't move to our husband's house. The
Mm.
guy moves in to our house. So in the
Yeah.
matriarchal system, I think the key differences that I've seen. One, once we get married, we don't move to the guy's house. The guy comes and lives with us,
Mhm.
which I've seen a lot of men find it very difficult to like digest it,
Right.
except for guys from our place.
Okay.
I think men in our place they grow up uh, being okay with it. So the guy moves into a house, and then he becomes the head of the household financially.
I see.
So he needs to provide for the family. Yeah, and we also take our mother's surnames. We don't
Okay.
take our father's surname.
So was it contentious telling your family you were moving to be with your husband instead of it being the other way around?
Oh no. So mine was an arranged marriage, not a love marriage.
So that it was understood then.
No, when his proposal came, my dad was initially very. When I was getting proposals, he wouldn't take anything beyond Calicut because after Calicut they don't follow. It's not Malabar, so they don't follow the system as much.
That
Where my husband from, we have family members who've married. Actually, he's long way related to me. So his people
right.
have come over and stayed at
Okay.
the girl's house. So my dad was like, yeah, it won't be much different. But they did have an issue with it. They were very, no, that's not going to happen. He's not going to come and stay. But then my dad is like, you know what? We're going to follow the Islamic rule, which is they stay together wherever they are. If you look at the Islamic rule, the girl doesn't have to shift to her husband's house either. The guy is supposed to take a house for his wife.
Okay.
So he doesn't move anywhere, she doesn't move anywhere. They get their own house.
So speaking of shifting, how did it feel to shift country after college? Do you enjoy life in London more than Bangalore in retrospect?
No, I don't enjoy my life in London more than Bangalore. I always get very emotional when I land in Bangalore. Because, I mean, you always have that thing where you grow up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though I'm a Malayali, I feel Bangalore's more home for me. And Kerala, that maybe something you can relate to as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's a win for us that you like Bangalore better than Kerala or London.
Yeah, it's just Bangalore feels like home. When people ask me where you're from, I always say Bangalore.
I understand that, yeah. Because technically I'm from Chennai, but this is home.
Yeah. Like when someone asks me where you're from in Kerala and I say Kannur and they're like, from where? And I'm like, Kannur because I don't know anything more than that. Like
Yeah.
that's all I know.
Yeah.
And then they are telling me where they're from and I'm like, I'm just nodding, but it's nothing's registering.
Yeah. There's memories that tie you to each of those
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
So I think when I was working in Christ when I got my visa,
Mm-hmm.
and I think my actually was so confident that I won't get my visa because I mean UK visas were hard. It still is hard to get. And I was applying for my husband's dependent visa and he was like, Farheen, I'm not gonna get it. But he just wanted me to be there. And when I finally got my visa and I told him, he was quite upset. And I was like, yeah, maybe immediately. And the last time I went back, I went and met him and I said, if I want to come back, will you give me a job? And he's like, yeah, of course. Because, even working in Christ, really, that was my best job. I was a cultural coordinator. It was not, nothing to do with my field, nothing to do with anything. They offered me that job because I was so active when I was in university. I was never in class.
So, considering that you've been in so many different fields, could you give us a short rundown of all of the ones you've worked in and tell us which one was your favorite thus far?
So my first job was a cultural coordinator at Christ. That was my favorite. Second job, I worked with my husband. He used to sell items on eBay and Amazon. So I used to handle the customer service.
Right.
That was very short, like 2 or 3 months maybe. And then I had applied for a university in the UK and I was rejected for a very silly reason. So then I had applied to a educational consultancy agency and I just asked them what's the reason and they listed out the reason. So I was like, can I send them an email? And he was like, yeah, okay, go ahead, but I don't think you can accept it. So I sent them out an email listing out why they can't actually deny me admission based on it was basically I was applying for an ACCA program, but because my job was as a cultural coordinator, they said I can't. It was not from an accounting field, so they told me I can't apply for ACCA. Which actually ACCA you can enter from any field. You can be from any field and you can enter ACCA. So I gave them my reasoning and I showed them my proof of like I was studying CA in India and all of that. And they accepted my application after that. So then the guy who owns the place, he then called me and offered me a job because he liked how I wrote the letter and everything. So then I worked there for another 2.5 years. Alongside that, when I had holidays from university, I worked with a solicitor as well.
Okay.
So I would draft some technical stuff. Some of the visa applications I went with the clients. Nothing law related, just very basic. But I learned a lot about visa applications to a point. I do everything by myself now, even though a lot of people do need solicitors. I do ask. my previous boss some doubts if I have, but most of the time was just learning things on the
Right.
job. After that, I started my own consultancy, education consultancy, but it was during peak COVID. It crashed even before it could take off. So then I finally started working in accounting. I worked for a firm. I worked there for a couple of months.
What
Till
is it called? I'm so sorry.
it's called Silver Arc.
Okay.
It's an accounting firm.
Okay.
So
Right.
chartered accountants. I handled the personal tax and
Okay.
I did some company tax and PATs and stuff like that.
Mm.
So basically, that was finally me working in the field I studied
Studied
after
for.
so many years. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, I worked there for a couple of months. During that time, initially my mom was here when I started working. Again, because of COVID. So I have a very young brother. He's 13 now. We have an 18-year age gap.
Wow.
So he's in school,
Okay.
and at that time he was in school, and because of COVID, classes were online. This was
Mm.
2022, so classes were still online.
Right.
But suddenly the school sent a letter saying classes are offline. So my mom had to go back.
Mm.
So she offered to take my daughter with her
Right.
because I was working. That's
Right.
what happened. My daughter went to Bangalore with my mom,
Okay.
and she lived there for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And then for her second birthday, I went to surprise her. I took like a 10-day holiday from work to surprise my
Lovely.
daughter for her second birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw her and I said, I cannot go back without her. So I called my husband and I told him that, I'm bringing her back. Then I came back to London with her.
Mm-hmm.
I took her to the office and I said, I'm sorry, I'm quitting my job. But my boss is very, very, very understanding and
Okay.
was very happy. Even though, like, basically I had no notice period. I was like, I have her with me now.
Mm.
Yeah, I quit after that. And since then, I've just been handling my husband's business accounts.
I see. Okay. Because that gives you the flexibility to be
Yeah,
with your daughter, right?
yeah.
Now that you've been there for 9 years, do you feel like you'd ever want to move your family back to India, or do you think things are better overall, even outside of the education stuff that we've discussed in England?
Very loaded question. I want to move back to Bangalore for a lot of reasons. I do feel life is easier in Bangalore. If you look
Yeah,
at comfort wise, like we have apps like there's an app for everything,
everything. There's an app.
right?
Yeah.
And the problem with the UK is the expenses with regards to like labor is very high. So they're
Mm,
not able to offer that as much as a country like India. Labor is exploited. So,
100%. Yeah.
even in places like Dubai and stuff,
Mm,
the reason you have an easier life is because labor is exploited. And
right.
in those ways, I have a lot of respect for this country because
Hmm.
you could be in any job, you will get paid well,
Yeah, true.
right? There's a minimum wage for anything, and the minimum wage is quite good.
Yes.
So you could be someone who picks up garbage, and there's no, like in India, you have that. You have to be working
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, if you're not working as per societal standards, you're not doing
Yes.
a great job.
Yeah. Here it's
With,
like it's tied to your sense of, I don't know, respect in society. So if a guy is working at Blinkit, for example, as a delivery man, I think the natural inclination for a lot of people would be to look down on someone like that. Whereas in England, if you're like an Uber Eats guy,
yeah,
it's just your job. They're gonna have enough money to buy a car that they'll probably have enough to rent a place and just live a
yeah,
normal life. So you're right.
yeah. And in general, over here, people really, from what I've seen, people really don't care how much money you've made or how big your house is or what cars you're
Interesting.
driving.
Really?
Um, yeah, I didn't feel that with the crowd in general.
Wow.
Nobody looks down at you. You do your please and thank yous regardless of which profession you're talking to.
Yeah.
You could be talking to anyone, but you still say your please, you still say a thank you, and these guys say sorry way too much.
Yeah.
It could be the person in front who's at fault, but I would say sorry. And that's very different in India. You
Yeah.
don't really talk with respect to people, delivery
No.
driver or a waiter or a,
Yeah.
yeah. I think. in those regards, I have a lot of respect for this country.
Mm,
The problem is, I'm a very political person. With those regards, in my circles, a lot of people are generally talking about moving to Dubai
mm,
because life is so easy there. People come and deliver everything to you. You don't even need to get out of your car. And I have a problem with that
mm,
because why does it have to be served to you in your car? Why can't
mm.
you get up
Yeah,
and go pick it? Why does someone have to, serve you
yeah.
like that? So I've never been a let's move to Dubai person for comfort.
Hmm.
I am a let's move to Bangalore person, not for comfort, because of the memories attached to it.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's been a lot of political change in the last few years. It's not been kind to people like me. So I was not a hijabi before. I started wearing hijab only 3 years back now.
Okay.
And my last visit to India was my first visit wearing the hijab, and I felt a lot of difference with how my
I
interactions
know.
were. I went to Bombay where I
Mm,
felt more differences. I think some people I met after a very long time just assumed I was forced into it, or
mm-hmm,
people just perceived things about me uh, when they saw me like this as compared to the Farheen without the hijab. So some
mm,
people thought of me fun then and not fun now.
mm,
And my experience wearing this here was very different as well. So I was very scared when I first wore this in London,
mm-hmm.
but I was welcomed. I've experienced things I didn't experience before, like people acknowledging me. The beauty of London is it's so multicultural that you don't face racism.
Mm.
Everyone is from outside.
That's
So
what I've realized. Yeah, it's
yeah.
very, very
So you will
multiple.
have even a person like dressed up in like gothic attire and no one would look at them twice.
I think that's so cool,
That
honestly.
is very cool. Like I've seen in like the poshest places like this guys with piercings everywhere and no one looks at them twice.
Yeah, exactly. That's so
It's
nice.
very welcoming.
People can just be themselves and
Yeah.
it's in
Yeah.
bats and eyelid, which is really nice. Like I've seen guys in Leeds and London who look like blue hair,
Yeah.
piercings everywhere, tattoos on the face, and
Yeah.
you'll be treated the same even if it's a fancy restaurant, or just a dive bar. People are
Yeah.
so that's something to aspire to, honestly. Because
Yeah.
here it's not like that.
Welcome here.
Right.
But in the UK, that is like I wouldn't say all parts of UK maybe, but London because London I feel like it's like Bangalore. No one from London is from London. Everyone's
Exactly.
from outside.
Yeah, even my friends, despite us growing up here and doing school here, like originally most people are from elsewhere or their families are from elsewhere,
Yeah,
like maximum one generation. So
yeah.
you're
And like I
right.
said, like when I went to school in Kerala, everybody would speak in Malayalam and they were told to speak in English. But in Bangalore, everybody's mother tongue was different, so you couldn't speak like in like the local tongue. Everybody spoke in English. I
Right.
think that whole, you speak to Kannada happened very recently.
Yeah.
But like if you were in school, everybody spoke in English.
Right.
Even when I was in Christ, a lot of people would talk to me in Malayalam because I'm from Kerala and I would reply back in English.
Mm-hmm.
And they would think I had an attitude because of it. But I was just like, it's just my comfort language is English.
Mm.
I know if I speak in Malayalam, they would make fun of me because that's how
Yeah.
bad Malayalam is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and they would then force me to speak Malayalam, and I spoke a couple of times and they did make fun of me. So I said, yeah, this is why I don't speak Malayalam.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a steep learning curve. And if it's not comfortable, language is such a personal thing. They shouldn't
Yeah,
force.
yeah,
People are
yeah,
so multicultural, especially in a place like Bangalore, that it's just not as simple as that. There's no meaning to those words. People are not going to bend and just speak another language because he says so. India's always been a mix, and
yeah,
especially Bangalore, you meet such a variety of people, and
yeah.
no one is closed off. They don't have their walls up, which is nice. That's a really special thing about Bangalore. Speaking of all of this multiculturalism and diversity and how much things have changed of late. Have you ever felt discrimination while in England? I know you mentioned that it hasn't felt that way at all, but have there been instances?
Only one. And it wasn't like a racist attack. It was a racist attack, but not. I wasn't I wasn't a hijabi, so I won't say it's Islamophobia. Yeah, and it was a very funny incident, to be honest. The guy was very drunk, and he was not old, which is what surprised me. He was very young.
Okay.
Um, we were in the bus, and it was late night. My parents were here at the time. My dad was leaving the next day. My daughter was very young at the time. She was 1.5.
Right.
Um, so she wasn't crying, but she was just making noises. Like, it wasn't loud. It was just, she was laughing. Both my siblings are very young.
Right.
Like, I have a huge age gap. My sister is turning 21 this year. So
Right.
back then she was a teenager and my brother was much younger, maybe 8, 9. Um,
Mm,
so they were just playing with her. She was making noises. So the guy in the front, um, he screamed, "Shut up!"
mhm.
And I was just like, just ignore. And then he screamed, "Shut up!" again. And it wasn't like he was looking at us. So it was just like, you meet all kind of people in London, and sometimes people are really drunk. You know who to stay away from, and sometimes people are just having a bad day, or I don't know. I've met all kinds of people that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's never attack on you. Sometimes people are just drunk and just screaming things out. So I was just like, okay, it's one of those days. People he's just screaming things. And then he turned around and then he said, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I can't really keep a 1.5-year-old shut, can I?
Yeah.
And she wasn't crying, she wasn't screaming, she was just laughing. There was just sounds, it wasn't loud. Then he turned around and then he said, "Tell that bitch to shut up." And he was
Oh.
talking about my daughter. So
Oh.
my husband, he was sitting on a separate seat, and he's a very jolly person and stuff. And he just looked at me, and I was just like, "This is not it." And then the guy said, "Tell that bitch to shut up" again.
Oh.
And I could see my husband's getting angry because the guy's calling our daughter. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, not at all. I.
Say hi.
I.
Okay, thank you, Marin. Right. So he was like, "Tell that bitch to shut up." And I just looked at him, I smiled, and I said, "No." And my dad is like, he's the calmest person I have ever met in my life. You could be standing inches away from him, he would still not lose his temper.
Mm,
So my dad was also like, "Yeah, he's just drunk, just ignore it." And we were getting off. So then that guy said, "All immigrants, you guys come from other countries, and you don't know how to be polite. Don't you know this is like Britain? We keep quiet in buses." I was just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And
mm,
we were just getting off at the next stop, so we were just queuing up. And two other ladies, both white. One of them started playing with my daughter, and the other one said to him, "Can you please just keep quiet? She's just a child. She doesn't know what she's saying." And then he was like, "You guys are the problem. You white people are the problem that we lost this great country to these people." And then they started having an argument. And I didn't know there was this term called Cool Britannia, which is racist. That was the
mm,
day I learned about it. So he said, "We used to colonize people. Look at us now. These guys have all moved in here." And I didn't have to say anything. Those other two women are schooling him.
mm.
And then we reached our stop, and it turns out he was getting off there as well. And we all got out except for my husband. My husband was like telling him, "You get out first." And I think that's when he got scared. The guy got a bit scared
Good.
because my husband was quite angry. He
Uh-huh.
got out, and my husband punched him.
Good. In the
And
face?
he did. And I think we were all shocked for a second because we didn't expect that reaction.
Okay.
And my dad held him and he said, "He is drunk, let him go." And he had like this tote bag, that guy. And then there were two homeless outside and they were just like, "Stop fighting." I mean, if you saw that whole scenario, I think that would describe London. That there were two homeless guys telling us to go stop fighting. This guy took his tote bag and started running, and it was just, yeah, it was. But that
I
was
mean,
literally the only racist attack, and the people who came to our defense were whites as well.
yeah, I think the people understand the logic of like
Yeah.
how things have gone down.
Even when around last year, yeah, last year, I don't know if you know about this far right protest that was there in the UK, in different parts of the UK, there were far right.
Mm,
supporters who were against immigrants and stuff like that. And this was very blown up in the news.
mm,
I remember I was in Dubai at the time, and there were people telling me, like, is it safe to go back? And
mm,
I was just like, I think we can handle it. And I reached here, and there was nothing. It was there in a few places, but it wasn't as bad as it was being shown in like
mm.
the Middle East and stuff like that. And the areas where some of the areas where they even went, there were other white people standing against these guys. So it wasn't even like the brown folks had to come in or like the black folks had to come in and stand against these people. It was other white folks. Do you know Birmingham? Have you ever been to Birmingham?
I have not been to Birmingham, no.
So Birmingham, you get to Birmingham, you don't feel like you're in the UK.
Right.
Like a, it's like an Asian country. It's like a India, Pakistan, Bangladesh all mixed together.
Wow.
I am not even kidding. You could walk in any Asian outfit over there. You won't feel out of place. You could walk in a sari. You could walk like in a churidar.
That's
It
kind of
just feels like a South Asian country mashed into one. And
interesting.
so my husband's manager, he was from Birmingham and he retired in Wales.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I talk to him, and I think if anyone had to be racist, it would be him because all these people went to his town and they completely changed. It was not just the clothes they wear, the boards, everything was just to be in Bangladeshi or like in Hindi or like
Mm.
you wouldn't feel like you're in outside of a South Asian country.
Wow. Okay.
I would sometimes feel I understand if those guys became racist because people from outside came and it changed his town. But
Mm.
he wasn't. He tells me he loves biryani and he loves samosas.
Right.
He's never felt any racist feeling towards me or any of that. Even in parts of London, like if you go to a place called East Ham is like Chennai, Kerala, Sri Lanka mashed into one place. Upton Park is like Gujarat and Pakistan mashed into one place.
Oh
Southall
my.
is like the Punjab. You go to Whitechapel, there are boards in Bangladeshi, parks named after like Bangladeshi people. And recently, a friend of mine, she's Tambaram. She grew up in Qatar and Bangalore. She
Mm.
came down here, and there's a temple in East Ham. I forgot what it's called. So I took her there, and she went in, and she was like, "I got transformed back to a temple in India." I feel like we have reverse colonized them.
Good on you.
Not really ruling them, but it's like
Great.
they got what they what they deserved, I guess.
It was one way or another.
And I don't think Indians would be as welcoming as these guys have been. I mean,
My notions are always destroyed every time I visit someplace, and I think that's actually a beautiful thing. It's really interesting, and the food is amazing, and it wouldn't be that
yeah.
good unless all of these people had gone. That's interesting. That event sounds traumatizing, but you seem very stoic about it, and I completely understand. That's ridiculous. So moving on to investment and finance, what was your budget distribution like when you were in college as opposed to abroad once you moved?
I think when I was in India, my dad used to give me money, right? To
Mm,
spend for like the week or the day or whatever, or sometimes even for the month. And I was very careful where I spend money. I'm a, hmm, for some people, I may look like a stingy person, but I feel like I'm just very careful with where I spend. So I
mm,
would make sure I had like the bus pass. Um, I wouldn't spend too much on transport.
great.
So I think I was quite. Um, I can only say from how different I am from my sister. She's
Hmm.
someone who spends. Like she won't look twice. She won't think twice. I don't like shopping, but
Yeah.
if I did shop, I would make sure it's worth the money.
Fair.
I was not very brand conscious. It didn't really matter to me. So unless I didn't feel like, okay, this is worth the money, I wouldn't buy something. Or even eating. I've always been like a street eat kind of person rather than like a fancy restaurant.
Mm,
I think that's why I lived in Truffles at one point.
nice.
I think I've tried everything on their menu. I don't think there's anything I've not tried. And I remember when I was coming to UK, my family wanted to throw me like a one last dinner, and they asked me, pick any place, and I said Truffles.
Wow. True Bangalorean.
Like my aunt was like, pick something fancy, man, like like a 5-star restaurant. I was like, no, I want to go to truffles. Like, this is what I want my last name to be before I
I'm so on the same page with you about that. It's like low to mid price places are the best. Everything beyond is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's bad.
When the ambience is good, the food is okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not everywhere, but most of the times you either go for the ambience or you go for the food.
Yeah. I went to a restaurant at an ITC recently, at the ITC Windsor.
But
I
yeah,
went
yeah, yeah.
there
I've gone. Yeah.
for dinner, and this is the sort of place where they charge you 2.5K for a dish, right?
Yes.
3K. It just felt like the same food, but with 15 times as much butter, and that's what they charge you for. So I was like, this is just so ridiculous, you know? Like, if you go to a dhaba, I personally think the naan and butter chicken would be better, in my opinion.
I
And
feel
like,
so. The one thing I really miss here that I don't get here, I would say, is andhra meals.
mm,
So most of the times, I land. My first meal when I reach Bangalore is from Nagarjuna.
nice.
Because everything else you kind of get a replacement here. Other meals is one thing I've not found anywhere.
There's no ready home mess in England anywhere,
I even
unfortunately.
asked some other people, and what they told me was most of them are settled in the US, so they
Oh,
have places in the US.
even here, whenever foreign artists come, I've seen how the managers act. They always take them to Nagarjuna without fail because it's like a novelty, authentic Indian
Yeah,
experience. I think you would do really well in England.
I think so too. Like I'm just like, how has no one started this?
That's really weird.
We have Saravana Bhavan. We've had A to B. There's MTR.
There's A to B. Wow, I love that place.
Oh, is there?
Come.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is A to B. There's MTR.
Okay.
There's Anjapar. Yeah, there's a lot of branches of restaurants from there.
They've gotten some sort of obsession with Indian food. It's the most ordered food in England.
It is. Sometimes when I meet people from here and they say, oh,
Mhm.
we love Indian food, when I ask them what they eat, it's just,
They'll just be like a curry. That's what they
yeah,
call it.
like butter
Curry.
naan and like chicken tikka. And you're just like missing out on the real experience. There's so much
Yeah.
more to the menu than that.
Yeah.
And most of the Indian restaurants here are run by Bangladeshis.
I had when I did go to that Punjabi place, right? It was the butter chicken was sweetish. It wasn't spicy, but it was so red. I don't know what's up
Yeah.
with that. So your budget distribution in college, you were careful and thought through and
Yes.
everything. But once you moved, what did it look like soon after you had gone?
So initially, you're converting everything to from pound to rupees. And
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, oh my God. I would say groceries is cheaper here.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I went for grocery shopping with my dad, and I think he bought for like a week. He spent 10 to 12,000,
Okay.
which was a lot.
Yeah.
Like I would get, I think for £60 here weeks groceries. I've
Right.
generally seen vegetables and fruits are much cheaper here. Yeah,
It's cheaper than here, than India.
yeah,
So your dad, when you went shopping with him, that was here,
yeah,
and he spent 12K.
yeah.
I see. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I think the way to go over there is groceries. There's no other way really.
If you're cooking at home, compared to India, I didn't feel it was that.
That's
Um,
great. Mm.
Obviously, if you're eating from out, India is much cheaper.
Here, even if you're broke, you can order food in and still have your tummy full for
Yeah.
7 hours a day or something. That's like 8, 9 pounds.
One meal, if I'm ordering in, would be £15.
Mm,
It's
right.
much cheaper for me to go somewhere and buy it other than
Hmm.
ordering in. All the delivery rates and the service charges quite high,
Right.
and they hike
Right.
up the price on the menu as well. But if you look at finances, otherwise, biggest thing I would say is rent.
Mm,
Rent is very expensive here,
mhm,
and anyone who's coming to the UK and asks me for advice, I always say get your rent sorted out. If you have that sorted out, everything else kind of just falls into place. 'Cause sometimes living in London is not as luxurious as we imagine. You have like a one bathroom situation, and if you grow up in a place like Bangalore, you're used to like having your own bathroom inside your room, or at least two bathrooms in the house. That you don't have to share like one bathroom with everybody else in the house. And you think like I'm coming from such luxury, I need to have that, and it's gonna be
mm,
very expensive for you. When
yeah.
you think of that. So I always tell people especially if they're coming for like work or even as a student. I tell them don't go for the fanciest place because spending so much money there, you don't realize you're hardly home. And you're basically actually just coming home to sleep. If it's bachelor's, even if it's master's,
Mm-hmm.
it's 2 to 3 days. The rest of the time you work. You're just out the whole day. And I've had people tell me this afterwards that they don't listen to me and they take a really nice house and they take a lot of rent. They eventually learn to downgrade to because it doesn't make sense to pay so much rent if you're not
Yeah.
at home. For a
Yeah.
person like me, I have a child and I am at home most of the time with her, and she is at home. A lot of people I've spoken to, they generally think that kids should grow up in a big house. Kids should have a backyard. Um, I didn't grow up with a house and a backyard. My parents sent me for all the extracurricular activities, and I feel like that's where I made more memories. Then
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really see why you need to have a garden in your house or a backyard in your house for your
Mm.
child to be happy. I think kids can be happy despite that.
I think kids can definitely be happy even without. I was in a boarding school with so much green space, and it was nice for us to like cycle around in all of that stuff. Definitely,
Yeah,
Um, but I see kids do the same thing in my apartment complex that I live in now, even though this one doesn't have 250 acres of green space, like
yeah,
vast majority don't. But kids will still play badminton and they'll play cricket
yeah.
and they'll cycle around and they make do.
Like where my house is in London, the apartment, so it doesn't have, it has a balcony, small balcony.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a backyard or a garden or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
there are like, there's a park, there's a playground in every direction of my house. Or
Right.
I would find an open place where she could scooter or cycle. I've never really understood the obsession with, especially Malayali parents being like, I think it's just that thing where they grow up in Kerala, houses are big and you have
Yeah.
all of that space. They just have this thing that, oh no, like our child should grow up in like this very big house. I want her to be able to have access to any extracurricular activity that she may want to do. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I went for dance classes, Bharatanatyam, and then I went for football practices in the morning. And my parents tried to send me for any class that I wanted. And I feel like it's more important that she has access to that. Let's say she has an inclination to music, which she does. She wants to learn
Mm.
to play an instrument. I'm interested that she is in a place where she can access that, rather
Right.
than me moving to a countryside for a bigger house.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I've seen people in Bombay who grown up with no space turn out to be well-rounded people. So I don't think it's a sole determinant for sure. It's
Yeah,
much more what's on the inside. So what is your primary mode of spending while in England? Is it Revolut, cash, or card?
I don't
I
think
see.
we even carry physical cards anymore.
Right.
There was a time there was cards, but
Mhm.
now it's just on your phone, my
You just tap
watch.
the.
You just tap. When I'm on
Mhm.
the bus or the tube, I don't even
Yeah.
take my phone out.
With Apple Pay, it's preloaded, right? You have to put the cash in beforehand.
No, it's connected to my card.
Oh, it's connected to your card. Great. Then it's
Yeah.
super convenient. Okay.
So my card is stored in my Apple Wallet.
Okay.
So I can choose like which is my primary card,
Right.
or if I want, I can double tap on the side and it
Mm.
shows me the cards that I have, and then I pick a card from that.
Right.
But I already have like a primary set card, and if I don't
Mm.
want to choose, I just have to
I see.
tap,
That's
and it
convenient.
just
Okay. My friends and I were discussing the fact that in India it's so convenient because we have UPI and it's connected to our
yeah,
account. So there's never really a preloading step. But
yeah,
if Apple Pay does that as well, then it's pretty much the same level of
yeah,
convenience.
yeah. I think as a traveler, I found the UPI system
Mm.
difficult for me.
Right.
Um, I know it's very nice for you guys who stay there, but when
Yeah.
I come for a visit and everywhere it's like UPI now, and I tell them I don't have UPI, then they just give you this look like, how do you not have UPI? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm not from here, man. Like,
Now it's you don't need money at all. It
yeah,
took a few years, like even 2 years ago, some people still required cash for certain things. It was becoming rarer and rarer, but now it's at a point where you can pay for a scooter with UPI. Next to
right,
the door, there will be a UPI payment thing. It's
yeah,
become quite the ubiquitous method of payment, UPI
right,
everywhere.
yeah,
It's here, and I think they've done a little bit of work making it possible to use in Dubai, in the Middle East, a little
okay,
bit. There's some steps that have taken place, but outside of that, it's only India. So, what are your methods of saving and investment currently? And have you and your husband considered investing in the Indian economy at any point?
My husband's not a saving person. Me, on the other hand, I am.
Mm.
Although I've never made the kind of money he has, I've always had more in savings than he does.
Wow.
So uh, he is very hearty with the spending. He's of the thing that if you have money, you need to spend it to enjoy it. You know, we'll figure things out tomorrow. And I'm more of a, oh my god, we need to plan for the next 5 years and keep our money ready for so and so. One good thing he's done, he does forex trading. So
Mhm.
he made money and he bought a land in India, in Kerala. That was one smart investment from his side.
That is a good investment because in India it's only ever going up because the cities just
Yeah,
keep growing. So there's definitely they're just gonna appreciate the values.
yeah. And it doesn't matter. I feel like in India, it doesn't matter where it is. It's always
Hmm.
going to appreciate. When I first moved to Bangalore, it was not Bangalore. It's not rural anymore.
It's really not rural. Would you like to see some of it? Look,
Yeah,
they're literally building, they're increasing the number of floors on this building that they're putting together right here.
yeah.
I'm sure that this was originally all green and expansive. Now it's just glass buildings as far as the eye can see. So it's changed. Do you think you will return to India in the future long term, beyond the desire to be in Bangalore? Do you think you would ever get to make that happen?
On a personal level,
Okay.
I really do like it in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I think um, because of the kind of person I am, I like how there's value for people, there's really exploitation, those kind of things. I feel like every country should give their citizens basic necessities for free, especially if you're tax paying. Um, Stuff like education, healthcare. I mean, the healthcare here is not sorted out. I won't say it's the best,
It's not,
but
you know.
I still feel you at least have access and you have access to good one. Even though I still wait for my trips to India to get my teeth done,
Exactly.
but you can go anywhere and you're not really getting scammed, which
Yeah.
is quite the case in India.
I just have a few rapid fire questions now.
Okay.
If you had a magic wand, what would you immediately change about India overall?
I think I would change people's mentalities towards certain things. For
Okay.
example, we don't have a national language. Guys, we have official languages, but no national language.
Right. Okay. Second question. What's the most English thing about you after you've spent this much time there? And have you picked up any of their quirks?
I think I would say the most English thing about me, I no longer can handle spice like I used to before.
Wow.
And I would say I say sorry 2 times down. Um, I think I'm too polite.
Between India, Wales, and England, which country makes it easiest to make friends and connect with community?
I would say England.
Okay.
I think because one is multicultural,
Hmm.
so there's no fix or certain set of people you only hang out with.
Mm.
Although it does exist, but I think in India it's way more. Um,
Right. I see. That was the final question. This episode has been fantastic, and somehow I feel like there's common ground that we could relate on, which is nice.
yeah.
I feel like people who are traveled tend to have that. Well, it's been a fantastic episode. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much, Michael, for
us.
inviting me and working around my schedule as well.
Absolutely, it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. It's been a pleasure too.